So thank you for coming, Catherine. I've been wanting to have this conversation with you because you really impacted my life. I don't know if you remember that.
Is this during your single years
Yeah, my single years.
in your West Wesley home?
Yes,
Yes.
yes. And we met each other through our friend Melanie. And I was really taken with you when I first met you. And then I was really honored when you said, well, let's do a little trade and you can help me with some stuff and I'll help you. And you came over to my house and I was in a place that I'd been happily single for a long time, not really meeting anybody that lit my fire. But then I was sort of realizing that I was almost too happy or sort of shut off on that. So you told me that I had too many images of single women in my house. And so I had to move some art around. So what's that about?
Well, that would be, well, and thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're so
I'm
welcome.
really excited. I think you're a naturally talented podcaster.
Oh, thank you.
And so I've been looking
Good talker.
Yes.
I like to talk.
I've been looking forward to this.
Oh, great. Thank you.
But I will say that's common, actually, with single women and single men. It's interesting. And so if you look at it from the perspective that art is speaking to you on a subconscious level, and it's not just speaking to you, it's on your walls, something that everyone else sees when they walk in. I see a lot of single women with a lot of, albeit powerful, I've had other clients who had gorgeous images of queens and just fabulous art, but they were all very strong single women. And in Feng Shui, the symbolism of the art, it impacts you on a subconscious level. And so if you're surrounding yourself with images of single women, you're almost reinforcing that with the universe. And I've seen it in other areas, and I'll give you another example where art I felt impacted, and it does. And it impacts the feng shui, it impacts the energy, the images portrayed. So I had a client who had a boardroom, and first of all, he didn't really believe in feng shui. There were a couple of things that he'd heard about me, and so he thought it'd be cute to hear what I had to say. And I intrigued him enough to where he hired me to do the consultation, because he had a boardroom where every time he would get to an important meeting, it would end up in a fight. There was like a really aggressive energy, and it had never happened to him before. And it was a new space, new boardroom. And so I walk in, and lo and behold, there are pictures of boxers, like big black and whites. They're gorgeous, very masculine.
Right, like Muhammad Ali's sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And it was an investment firm. And so, it kind of fit in a way, but I was like, ta-da. And once you saw it, once you open people's eyes to it, it becomes, second nature. They're like, oh, I can see that now. And
well, it's true that now that I'm married and, as you know, I love art, but I have a lot of images throughout the house now that are about family and the kids' pictures and things like that. So it sort of makes sense that you're reflecting the state of your life as it is. And then, I love being around powerful, smart women. That is what I'm drawn to. I have a very strong friend group of women. And when I got divorced, one of the things that was really important for me to do was also to spend time with couples that were happy. When you're getting a divorce, you're not happy. Right. And you're not typically around happy couples either, because happy couples don't want to be around unhappy couples. So I felt like, I needed to do a sort of a clean sweep of my life. And Melanie and Stan were a couple that I spent a lot of time with, and they were really great and kind of took me under their wing. And I loved being around them because they were really a fun, great couple and had really created a great life together. But it's true that the images, sort of represented that. And shortly after I met with you and did a little tweaking, I did meet my husband, which was interesting. So,
Success story.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. So I mean, what was it that sort of got you into Feng Shui? Like, was it that you had it, you looked into it for yourself and then it just intrigued you, or?
I did. I would say, I went to college, dropped out because I hated it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see myself really like passionate about anything that school offered me, the traditional college route offered me. And I kind of jumped around. I did fashion design, I did computer design, and then I went back and I got a classic, traditional degree in art history. But I really didn't ignite what I would call my lifelong career passion until I found a book, or I like to say it found me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a little simple book by Karen Kingston. It was called Clear Your Clutter with Feng Shui. And it was such a unique perspective on space in it, but it hit me like a lightning bolt.
Mm-hmm.
And turns out Karen Kingston is a Western practitioner. She does completely different style of feng shui that I do, and most people don't know that there are different styles. There's a Western school, which is more of an intuitive style, and then there's the classic um, Chinese feng shui, which is what I've studied both, but that's what I got my master's in.
Mm-hmm.
It's a classical, one of the 5 Chinese metaphysical arts. So it's like night and day from what I think most Western Americans, Western culture would think of when they think of feng shui. They think of the Western feng shui,
Mm-hmm.
and so it was a journey. It took me overseas, Malaysia, and it was, I think, when you approach it from the perspective that it's a 5,000-year-old art, and it's also a living art. It comes from a culture where it's been repressed from the beginning of the Chinese Communist Party. It went through years only being used by royalty. You were killed if you were caught practicing feng shui outside of the royal family or the elite,
Why is that?
because it's considered one of the most.
Like it's witchy?
No, they wanted to harness the power for themselves, keep it for themselves.
Oh, interesting. Mm.
Yeah, and it went along with Secrets of the State. They used to use these formulas that I now have access to, but for thousands of years, only men who were and these secrets were very tightly guarded.
Mm-hmm.
They could only pass it down to other men through a specific lineage.
Mm.
So with the woman who I studied under and a couple before her, it really revolutionized the availability of classic metaphysical feng shui, which is one of those things I don't think you could ever really master. So I don't consider myself a master.
Mm-hmm.
But it's powerful and also simple at the same time.